Hello once again, welcome to the Management Channel, and in this Management Operations section we're going to look at the role of management. Here we're going to look at it, gain an understanding of the role of management, listen to find the basic functions of management, get a better understanding of the basic management skills needed and their relative importance, and we're going to take a look at some different approaches to management. So first of all, managers influence all phases of modern organizations, and they're the catalyst for new ideas. Management is all about the process of reaching organizational goals by working through people. How well you lead your people determines how successful you're going to be as a manager. There are essentially three main characteristics of management. One, it's a process or series of continuing and related activities. It involves and concentrates on reaching organizational goals, and it reaches these goals by working with and working through people as well as other organizational resources. So managers have four basic functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Make sure that you look at some of the differences between a manager and a leader. Managers manage tasks. Leaders lead people. Take a moment and read through these, and I will be back with you in a second. Feel free to pause if you'd like. All right, some common mistakes that management make in planning: not establishing objectives for all the important organizational areas, or making plans that might be too risky. In organizing, not emphasizing coordination of organizational members. Influencing, not taking the time to communicate properly with your members, or being a manager and not a leader. And controlling, not monitoring the progress, not monitoring the performance. So I'll leave you with this for a moment. If you need to pause, please do so. Responsibility and delegation. Responsibility is the obligation to perform assigned activities. Job description is a list of specific activities that must be performed by whoever is assigned to that position. There are two primary models for dividing job activities. There's a functional similarity method and a functional similarity and responsibility method. Functional similarity method is the most basic method of dividing job activities. Suggests that management take 4 steps. Examine management system objectives. Designate appropriate activities that have to be performed to reach those objectives. Design specific jobs by grouping similar activities together. And make specific individuals responsible for performing those individual tasks or jobs. The functional similarity and responsibility method contains 3 additional guides. Overlapping responsibility. More than one individual is responsible for the same activity. Responsibility gap exists when certain tasks are not included in the responsibility for completing that designated task. And avoid creating job activities that don't enhance goal attainment. In other words, remove any non-value items. Obstacles to delegation. Well, there's 3 general categories. 1, obstacles are related to the supervisor. Obstacles are related to the subordinates. And obstacles related to the organization itself. Your job is to eliminate any and all obstacles that prevent the organization from reaching their goals. Managers are evaluated by their activities. Management can be appraised in 4 different dimensions: attitude toward and conduct with subordinates, their behavior with upper management, of course, behavior with other groups or functions within the organization, and their personal attitudes and values. Authority is the right to perform or command. The types of authority are line authority, which is the most fundamental. It's the right to make decisions and give orders concerning the production, sales, or financial related behavior of subordinates. And there's staff authority, the right to advise or assist those who possess line authority as well as other staff personnel. accounting and HR, for instance. The types of authorities: functional authority, the right to give orders within a segment of the organization, generally covers only specific task areas and for a designated period of time. Accountability is a doctrine where individuals are held liable or accountable for how they use their authority and live up to their responsibility of performing an activity. There are three main roles staff personnel perform. One, advisory or counseling. They use their professional expertise to help solve organizational problems. Service role, providing services that provide more efficient and effective information to management by. And control role, establish a mechanism for evaluating effectiveness of organizational plans. Your assets available during the production process are: 1, human resources or people; monetary or operational cash versus the budget; and raw materials, ingredients, materials, and items used for productions and services. And also, finally, capital, your machines and equipment, and of course the building that the production is done in. To be effective means you have to achieve results, make the right decisions, and to carry successful so that they achieve their organizational goals. But to be efficient means to use the resources, people, money, raw materials, and so forth, wisely and cost effectively. So as a manager, you really want to be both effective and efficient. The transformation process is taking raw inputs, people, capital resources, into the production process and coming out with either finished goods or a service that you provide to the environment. Robert Katz stated that there are three types of skills managers need to be successful. 1, they need to have technical skills, the ability to use methods and techniques to perform a task. Human, ability to work with people in groups or teams and lead them as well as communicate well with them. And conceptual and decision making, your ability to understand some abstract ideas and find alternatives to solve that problem. Management skills versus management levels. As you move up the ladder, your skills needed change. At the operational level, you mainly need technical skills and human skills. But in the middle management, now you need some technical, human, and conceptual skills. And at the top management, you're basically more conceptual skills and human skills than you are technical. There are three basic types of activities: task-related, which is planning, clarifying objectives, monitoring the operation, and personnel performance. People-related, your support in developing their skills, you're encouraging them, motivating them, and wherever possible, empowering them to be responsible. And change-related, modifying organizational components, new strategies, and the vision, taking risks, and encouraging innovations for improvement. Now we're going to look at some approaches to management. First of all, we have the classical approach, the product of first effort to develop a body of management thought. Recommended managers strive to increase organizational efficiency to increase production. The classical approach is broken into two areas: lower level analysis and comprehensive analysis. So as you can see here, the classical approach is broken into two areas: lower level management analysis. The contributors were Frederick Taylor, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, Henry Gantt, and the comprehensive analysis of management was mainly from Henry Fayol. And we covered that in the Introduction to Management, in case you didn't get a chance to see that lecture yet. Lower level management concentrates on the one best way to perform a task, how a task can be structured to get the highest amount of production from workers. Frederick Taylor introduced the idea that any worker's job could be reduced to a science and therefore standardize the work approach so you got the same results every time. Frank and Lillian Gilbreth also studied the best way to perform a job and introduced the idea of motion study, reducing each job to the most basic movements necessary. Henry Gantt was the third contributor, who felt unsatisfactory performance was primarily due to rates established by previous workers or from someone's opinion of what should have been produced. Gantt sought to improve systems through task scheduling and the reward innovation. The tool that Gantt developed is still used widely in project management today, and that's the Gantt chart. A comprehensive analysis concentrates on the entire range of management performance. While there are many contributors to this line of thought, the most notable was Henry Fayol. He was considered the pioneer of administrative theory, who outlined the elements of management to be planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and control. So now let's take a look at the behavioral approach. Emphasize increasing production through the understanding of people and their behavior. The theory was, if management understood how their people and adapt their organizations to them, success will follow. Hawthorne studies investigated behavior and attitudes of workers and gave management a new direction for research, which then gave rise to the human relations movement. Human relations movement was more of a people-oriented approach to management. Interaction of people is studied to judge impact on the success of the organization. The objective was to enhance organizational success by building appropriate relationships with the workers. The main contributors there were Maslow and McGregor. Maslow introduced the human needs, such as physiological safety, social esteem, and self-actualization. McGregor introduced the idea that people can be self-directed, accept responsibility, and consider work to be as natural as play. The management science approach suggests managements can best improve their organizations by using the scientific method and mathematical techniques to solve operational problems, such as SPC. It introduced the scientific method for problem solving by observing, constructing, deducing, and testing. Systematically observe the system whose behavior must be explained to solve the problem. Use those specific observations to construct a model from which consequences of changing the system could be predicted. Use the model then to deduce how the system will behave under conditions not observed if changes were made. And test the model then by performing an experiment on the system to see if the effects predicted occur whenever the change is made. And then we have what's called the contingency approach, what I call the what-if approach. It emphasizes that what managers do in practice depends upon a given set of circumstances or situations and really their experience. The approach emphasizes the if-then relationship. If this happens, then we do this. The appropriate attempts to outline the conditions or situations which various management methods have the best chance of success. So you want to figure out, if this happens, what do we do? Then we have what's called the system approach. Based on the general system theory, to fully understand the operation of an organization, it has to be viewed as a system. System is a number of interdependent parts functioning as a whole for a stated reason or purpose. There are two types, open and closed. The closed system is not influenced or interact with its environment, mostly mechanical, and has predetermined activities that must be performed regardless of the environment that is in. The open system is continually interactive with its environment, like a plant. The concept of wholeness is important as the system must be viewed as a whole and modified only through changes in its parts. The management system is an open system and composed of a number of parts that function interdependently to achieve that purpose. Main parts are organizational input, the organizational process, and obviously the organizational output. And again, turning inputs to outputs. The information for management system analysis is the main information to discuss management systems for a classical approach, behavior approach, and management science approach. The use of these sources becomes a triangular management model from which analysis of management systems is most useful. And then we have the learning organization. A recent approach, a learning organization, is one that does well in creating, acquiring, and transferring knowledge, and then modifying that behavior to reflect the new knowledge received. They emphasize systematic problem solving, experimenting with new ideas, learning from experience and past history, lessons learned book, from the experience of others, all that, and transferring that knowledge throughout the organization for a continuous improvement environment. So we hope you'll stay with us to learn more in the leadership section here in the Management Channel, as well as more in the business operations. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.